This is the Bitcoin 1 month overview reading for the month of January 2024. It's currently November 21st, 2023, 6:47 p.m. Eastern Time. Bitcoin at the time of this reading is currently $35,963.80. That's USD. And the shuffle file we're going to play for you in just a second here was created on October 25th, 2023 at 2:18 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video here in the corner. So the overall theme and behavior for January, it's interesting, guys. We have two of the most flat cards in the deck for the theme and the crossing card. So there's a really important price level here that that'll stand out. And what's really interesting about it is this combination of the peace and the truce card. It appears the peace and the truce card both prominently in early February. So my sense is that we're probably already in this part of the sequence of events for Bitcoin. And then when I took a look at December, I saw the Ace of Wands in December as well. So as far as sequence of events, but point being is there's something really important going on with the price level. I'd say that it's going to be highlighted around the 30th, probably near a low, a prominent trough. Behavior around the highest high, we have multiple failed attempts, or we have a resistance level that is highlighted. It's a resistance level that we've met many times before and failed to break through. It's highlighted near the high, and then behavior around the lowest low for the month. We have a decline that increases with momentum moving forward into the low. Before we go any further, I want to make sure everybody's aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market. We do that here on our website, Tarot for Traders. On the resources tab, everybody that's utilizing this information to profit should be following the rule of karma for the channel. It's the unwritten agreement between the universe and anybody profiting from this information. You must follow through on this rule in order to continue profiting, or the universe will kind of shut you off from the flow through this channel. And the rule of karma is this: 5% of profit should be donated forward to one of these charities here. Just click here and donate. Be a part of a cure for Alzheimer's or cancer. I mean, amazing if everybody in the stock market took some of their money and from every profitable trade and put it towards good use. Be a better world. And then 5% of the profit should be donated back to the channel here. One of these links leaves you with 90% of the money. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you're an angel investor of the channel. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold for following through on the rule of karma. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. All right, so it's important to understand that these cards going horizontally from left to right across the screen, they're numbered. These are the days of the month, right? So each card represents one day of time, but the thing is that not every card's energy will line up perfectly with one day of time. So it's important to understand that and give it about plus or minus 1 day of wiggle room. But the sequence of events will remain accurate even when we find ourselves off by a day here or there, which might not even happen. Most of the readings, it doesn't even happen. On the first, we have a period of sideways fluidity, equal amounts of bulls and bears inflow and outflow, kind of like swings back and forth, eventually ending sideways. And it looks like we have a prominent trough at the beginning of the day and then a prominent trough at the end of the day, not as low as the trough from the beginning of the day. And there's also a notable move to the upside starting out of that prominent trough at the end of the day. On the second, we have a big move higher. It'll stand out on a 1 month chart, and it's followed by a full retracement of that move back down. There's also a trade opportunity on the first and the second that I'll talk about in more detail on the paid version. A lot of trades in this Bitcoin reading. We also have a prominent peak here on the second. So we decline back down from the peak into the third, and then from the third we have this big move to the upside standing out on a 1 month chart, reaching for a distant resistance. And we have another prominent peak or crest either on the third or the fourth. A period of volatility on the fourth that ends with a fast sudden move higher. On the fifth, we have a period of sideways rotation along a key support level on a 1 month chart scale, relevancy. And that sideways rotation ends with a fast sudden move higher, probably at the end of the day on the 5th. And then we have a prominent peak there on the 5th, around the middle part of the day, and probably again at the end of the day, around the cusp of the 5th, 6th. That's followed by a pretty notable decline through multiple support levels on the 6th, taking us to a trough, probably in the morning of the 6th. Thank you, Hermes. I love you too. On the 7th, we have a failed attempt to break the key resistance relevant on a 1 month scale, followed by a decline through key support. On the 8th, there's an important support level highlighted. It'll be important on like a 1 year chart scale minimum. Usually you see sideways rotation there. It looks like we probably break down through it on the 9th. We declined to revisit a support level that we recently met once before, probably from like the 5th. And there's also a prominent trough there on the 9th. On the 10th, an important technical price level, important on a 1 year scale minimum, will be highlighted. On the 11th, a trough early in the day and a trade opportunity, sideways fluctuating rally out of that trough, and then another notable move to the upside midday to a peak on the 11th. That's followed by a decline into the 12th. Trade opportunity in the 12th. Again, we'll talk about that in the paid version. Let's take a look and see how we're doing for the November reading. So I think we were off a couple days on the low, right? The low's here on what is this, the 4th? We have it on the we have one for the 3rd, 4th, and then a lower one for the 6th, 5th, 6th. And it looks like it didn't end up being lower on the 5th, 6th, but we did have another poke there on the 5th, 6th, right? And that's what's important to notate, guys. The 8th was the Princess of Swords. I'm gonna notate this off. That price level right there could probably be used as like a mean level for if you were gonna play both sides of the market. That could be like your middle price level between the two, if that makes sense, I guess. And so on the 13th, 14th, we have a sharp decline. That's that unicursal, and that took us into what was really close to a lowest low. We met the lows again, pretty much there on the 14th. That's pretty darn accurate. Brief peak that's easily missed, followed by notable decline through multiple supports. And then we have highs. We're moving towards highs there on the 20th, 21st. 21st, a big reversal off of a high. This is pretty solid, guys. This was really solid. Even the high at the beginning of the month, that was a high, and then we declined. It was our first high side, and then we declined and came back to highs. So this is a pretty solid reading. Not my best work, but pretty solid. Especially if you played this decline here into the 14th, from the 13th into the 14th, right? You would have made money shorting into the 14th, and then you could have opened up a long position in the midst of that decline to close there on the 15th. Or if you held it until the fortune card, or the full card would have been the 20th or the 21st, you still would have done pretty well. So this is really solid. Those are the type of trades you would have been able to see ahead of time if you had the paid version. So, okay, so on the 12th, declining from the 11th into the 12th, declining from a peak on the 11th into the 12th. There's a trade opportunity early in the day on the 12th, and that the 12th ends with a fast sudden move higher, either late in the day on the 12th or probably early in the day on the 13th, where we have a peak or crest, prominent peak or crest, and then a notable decline there to a trough at the end of the day on the 13th, a lower trough there in the morning on the 14th, and a lot of price change on the 14th surrounding a resistance level that gives us opportunity to trade both directions, like maybe first down in like a bearish position and then at a reversal turn around and open up a bullish position, or vice versa, really dependent. On the 15th, we have sideways rotation bumping up against resistance, breaking through resistance, bumping up against resistance, and then we have another decline on the 16th that'll really stand out on a 1-month chart scale. There's an important price level highlighted there as well. Actually, there's an important price level highlighted on the 13th as well, and an important price level highlighted on the 16th. On the 17th, we have, even in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds, or more likely in the face of a really scary decline from the 16th, we surprisingly moved to the upside, even in the face of that scary technical chart behavior, what have you. On the 18th, we have a prominent move higher, trade opportunity at a peak, and then a full retracement and then move back down. On the 19th, a failed attempt to break through key resistance. It's resistance that we expect to break through based on previous chart behavior. It's probably resistance. It's probably the same resistance as this peak here from the 18th is my guess. But we failed to break through. Instead, we declined through key support. And then on the 20th, there's a peak, notable move into a peak, like late morning session, and then we decline to and through support to meet a second support, rotate sideways along that support. That's important on support on a on like a 1-month chart scale. On the 21st, fast sudden move higher, and then towards the early afternoon session, a notable decline. On the 22nd, we have a decline with a trough at the end of the day. We're on the cusp of the 22nd, 23rd. And then on the 23rd, we have a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through key support. It looks like probably a peak early in the day on the... Hard to say where that peak is, but in any case, there's a trough midday, notable decline into it, brief peak that's easily missed on the 23rd, continued decline, and then on the 24th, we have a notable move higher with a breakout on a multi-day scale, taking us to a peak or crest there late in the day on the 24th. On the 25th, we have a notable reversal. On the 26th, a lot of price change there on the 26th, and you should be able to position yourself, play both directions, first bearish, bullish, and then bullish, and then, or first bullish and then bearish, one of those variations, with the amount of price change surrounding a resistance level that'll be highlighted there on the 26th. On the 27th, we establish support with sideways rotation, and then there's a big move higher that'll stand out on a 1-month chart, followed by sideways rotation at a higher price level. On the 28th, we have 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level, first up, then down, then back up, and we have a trough at the end of the, we have a peak and a trough near the end of the day of the 28th. Advise not to chase the rally at that peak towards the end of the day, and there's a big move out of the trough to the upside to, it looks like a higher peak in the morning on the 29th. Then there's sideways rotation revisiting a support level that was recently a past opportunity on the 29th, a sharp drop that stands out in that period of sideways rotation. On the 30th, we have 3 pokes through the same price level, followed by a sharp decline, trade opportunity right before that sharp decline. And then on the 31st, a rally that increases with the momentum moving forward in time. There's a ton of trades, so I just didn't bother to mention how many there are. I'm going to get into them in the paid version. In February, we have a crest that we sell often pretty notably down to and through support to do a U-shaped reversal below it, another support, come back and reuse it as support. And that's Bitcoin for January 2024, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. It really helps out the channel. If you have subscribed, please share this channel with somebody you think it'll help. But most importantly, my friends, for your own good and for the good of the channel and the world, make sure to follow that rule of karma. Every time you profit, don't put it off, my friends. What we do now echoes through eternity. So what you put off, you will continue to put off. Follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. All right, guys. So from the standpoint of the cross-reading congruencies, the placement of the January reading on the sequence of events that's here for the 2024 reading, it's really more so the February cluster that we're seeing a lot of cross-reading congruencies for. What's interesting is I went back into the December reading and I saw both the Ace of Wands, and guess what the theme card is for December? It's the Strife card there for December. That's supposed to be here in January. So the sequence of events of December, we're like a month ahead in the sequence of events basically for Bitcoin right now, which will happen occasionally, and it'll even out, come back to being right on track. But point is that's where we are. There's an important price level highlighted early in the month. As far as highs are concerned, there's a couple places where we're likely to have them, but it's very flat behavior, so chances are we're gonna, even if we see like some big moves in one direction, if we see big moves in one direction, we'll probably see them in the other direction as well, because it's pretty flat kind of energy, the peace and the truce card. I would say the highest highs are probably right here around like the 5th, 6th, but we might see it multiple times, like here on the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th, 6th. It's hard to say. With a lot of the Januaries, I'm seeing a high around the 2nd, 3rd, 2 highs around the 2nd, 3rd, and then another one over here around like the 13th, 14th, and you can see there's a peak there as well. That's interesting. But this is most likely where we have highest highs, and then we most likely have another highest high here around the 26th, 27th. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd say earlier rather than later. As far as lowest lows, I think we have a lowest low thus far here around the 8th, 9th, probably on the 9th, and then a lower low or the same low, but I think it's probably a lower low here on the 13th, 14th. After a peak there. A lot of price change around the 13th, 14th. A lot of price change. We revisit that low here on the 16th, either that or it's a lower one, but I think it's probably the same price level as the 13th, 14th. I'm not so sure if this one here on the 22nd, 23rd is going to be an actual low. But again, there's a lot of, in the last 2 weeks, in a lot of January readings, there's a low in both. So we might have another low here around the 28th, it's possible, after creating highs here around the 25th, 26th, 27th. From the standpoint of Bitcoin, so on the multi-year chart, we're kind of like between 2023 and 2024. We've got both the Prince of Wands, and then we also have the Knight of Cups, both appearing, and they're appearing in order too. So that's where we are as far as sequence of events. So what I would be doing is looking for opportunity, first off, early in the month to open up a short position and close it late in the month, and then I'd be looking for an opportunity late in the month to open up a long position. Late in the month I'd open up a long position in anticipation of like a rally into March. So I'd probably look to short. So I'd want to see out of a trough around the 1st, 2nd. I'd want to see out of a trough a breakout with a prominent move higher around the 2nd and a full retracement of that move. Once I see that, the next move should be a big move reaching for distant resistance. I'd probably want to open up a partial short there And then if we see that same price level or higher over the 4th, 5th, 6th, I'd add to that short with the anticipation of closing that short in the morning on the 6th. If I'm wrong about that, then on the cusp of the 8th, 9th. If I'm wrong about that, then probably the 13th. If not the 13th, then the 16th. But at that point, I'd just be like, wow, if I was wrong that many times in a row, like that would just be ridiculous. Those are all exit points for short positions and entry points for long positions that I just mentioned. And yeah, so in the midst of the decline on the 16th, I'd open up a long position to close at the end of the day around a peak on the 18th. Looking for a period of volatility in a one-day chart and a fast move higher marking the end of that volatility. It'll take us to an important range on at least a one-day chart. So you could probably open up early in the morning on the 24th before a breakout. You could open up a long position, close it around the end of the day, or on the cusp of the 24th, 25th. Open up a short, close that short probably on the 25th after a notable reversal, and then open up a long there on the 25th and close that long around the cusp of the 26th, 27th at a highest high. But from the standpoint of multi-year, this Ace of Swords is probably acting as kind of like a mean point between like a long and a short position if you wanted to. So in other words, you'd want to get into a short position way above this whatever this Ace of Swords price level is, and you'd want to get into a long position way below that price level. Oh, you could also open up a long in the midst of this decline here on the 13th, 14th, probably in the morning on the 14th, open up a long position and close it on the 15th in the midst of a notable move higher, bumping along resistance. A lot of trade opportunities, but those are the best ones that I see. That's Bitcoin for January 2024, my friends. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for supporting the channel with the paid version. Blessings to all my angel investors. You know what to do. You know where to go. I'll see you guys on the next one.